And welcome. Hey there, folks. It is Helium Down Under here. Thank you so much for dropping into this video. My name is Ian. I'm going to be your host for this call, as with all of the calls here on Helium Down Under. Guys, if this is your first time actually checking out a video here on our channel, guys, if I could ask you to hit the subscribe button, smash on the thumbs up, like button, just to help this channel to basically be seen out there on the interwebs, okay? Now, this channel is focused very much on helium, IoT, with a true focus on the land down under the Anzac region of Australia and New Zealand, also known as the AU 915 frequency band. Now, of course, actually just very, very recently, like in the last couple of days, there has been information circulated via the DY that there was a strong probability that the AU 915 frequency band was going to be changed, and we in Australia would no longer be using that frequency band. We were going to be using I think it was the AS 923 band, but I'm not even sure. I don't have it in front of me right at this very moment. But the great news is that as a result of a little bit of pressure that was being applied by the silent minority, and we all of a sudden became the vocal minority, we actually put a little bit of pressure on the DY community. And right now, I won't say that they've rescinded, that it won't happen at all, but it is looking highly likely, the fact that that information, or that the committee decision will be rescinded, and that we will stay on AU 915. Right now, it's still a possibility, so let's not count our chickens before they hatch. But it looks like the great work of some of your more vocal people here on the Discord, like Jay over in South Australia, who was the very first a true helium hotspot that was operating on the AU 915 frequency band. He was the very first one that was actually there with the purpose of providing IoT coverage and generating proof of coverage. And he's obviously got a lot of knowledge, as you will have seen from prior calls. He's got a lot of knowledge in the space of IoT. He's been very active on the TTN, the Things Network, here for many years. He has a bit of a business running on IoT right now, so this is not a new space to him, and a huge advocate for the rest of us. So, guys, I think we should all sort of put our hands together for Jay, for basically speaking out there for the community to at least raise this change to a different frequency band as something that really does need a great deal of consideration before doing that. It really should not be made without the involvement of those people that it's actually going to impact. So that's of course this channel, the focus, the AU 915. Guys, it's been a long time since I've put a video out. It's been almost 2 weeks, and I really do apologize. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, I've been getting an abundance of Facebook messages and Discord messages saying, hey Ian, when are you going to be putting out a next video? It's been a long time. I know a lot's been going on. I can see you've got a hotspot online. Guys, we're just hanging to know what's happening. Guys, in between work and in between theatre commitments, because I'm also a stage performer, a theatre performer, and I've had a production going on. So in between those two things, I'm afraid there has been very little time for anything else. I've been popping in and out of Discord when I could via my mobile phone, which drives me absolute nuts because I'm all fingers and thumbs and I can never figure out how to do what I've got to do, and then I mistype, and it's just a nightmare. So I try and avoid it wherever I can. And any spare time that I did have was actually spent getting my setup here at home all established, because there's been some really great news for myself over the last couple of weeks. Now, you'll know, well, most of you will have probably heard my prior calls. You'll know that I have basically a selection of hotspots on order from across multiple vendors, and my orders are still, my first order is probably, like many of you, going to come from either SenseCap or Linksdot, and it will probably be arriving in the next couple of weeks. But like many of you, I placed my order for Nebra units back in, I think it was March now, and we are still no closer to receiving those, even though they do say that they are going to be shipping, and they probably will. I do actually have faith that they're actually telling the truth. But guys, once bitten, twice shy for myself. I've cancelled all bar one of my Nebra units, and I've now swung fully behind the other manufacturers, being SenseCap, Linksdot, and Heltec. They will be my three primary providers. Now, I do also have an order for rack. But how did I get the hotspot that I've got right now? Well, guys, one of our units, one of our fellow heliumites here in Brisbane, Clayton, who approximately, probably, I don't even know for sure, but I'm going to guess it was about 4 or 5 months ago, he placed an order for 5 hotspots from Rack. They finally arrived, but in between the time when he ordered it and when he received it, his circumstances changed and he didn't have placements for all of the hotspots. He really wanted to see one of his hotspots on the network right now, so he contacted myself, and he's paid one of his units forward to myself, and I'll be giving him my rack when it arrives in December or January. I've also made the offer of I gladly swing him one of the other hotspots if he'd like to add another one to his mix. But to Clayton, thanks so much, mate. I really appreciate you to doing this for me, giving me something to work with, getting me something to make content with, and letting me finally test the setup that I've got going here. And that is pretty much the focus of this entire video here today, guys, is the setup that I've got going and what's been happening here at Helium Central. But just before I go on with the content of it, there's, of course, very recently, it was Helium's 2nd birthday. Now, there was a bit of a celebration across most of the social media platforms, of which one of them on Twitter, there was a competition where you could enter the competition by one of 3 ways. You could take a photo of your Helium setup and send that in there, and they would judge the best Helium setup. Or you could draw artwork that was celebrating the fact that it was Helium's 2nd birthday. Or you could actually propose an IoT use case for them to judge, not necessarily to implement, but for them to consider, to talk about. Now, I'm not much of an artist, so I definitely didn't draw. Of course, at the time of that competition, I didn't have a hotspot, so I could have taken a photo of my mast, and I don't think that would have done very much to impress the judges. But I did provide an IoT solution of a smart fire extinguisher or smart firefighting equipment. How this works, I mean, this is all just in theory here, guys. I'm sort of thinking some sort of sensors into the hand operation of fire extinguishers, so that a person can easily know when they've been activated, so that they're not discharged. You need to make sure they're available. Maybe they could also set off some sort of alarm when multiple fire extinguishers are applied or within the same area or taken. I mean, there's many applications. That's one I put forward, and I did receive one of the runner-up prizes. So let me show you what I won. Now, for starters, the first prize was a hotspot. Now, I got runner-up. I didn't know what I was going to get. So let me show you what I got here. Let's see if I can get the focus right on this. Yeah. Now, I'm not even entirely sure if this is the right way around on the camera. Cameras have a habit of swinging things around. But this is Helium's birthday. I got a box of cookies. So thank you, Helium. I will be consuming those cookies very shortly. I've got a cup of coffee here today. And as soon as I'm off camera, I'm going to be sampling one of your beautiful cookies. There was a box of 6 of them. The box is actually quite large. It came up all wrapped. I had no idea what was in it. It arrived at the door. I was so excited because I knew it was coming from the US, so I knew that it was coming from Helium. I was tracking it. Remember, I don't know what this is. I'm thinking maybe it's a hotspot. Maybe it's antennas. Maybe it's something that's going to be so cool that I'll be able to apply. And I'm not going to tell you a lie, okay? I was a little disappointed when I opened it up and found a box of cookies inside. But hey, in the spirit of the Helium birthday, I will be celebrating. I didn't enter the competition with the expectation of winning any prize. So just to receive anything from Helium was great. I would love to share these with our community, but I'm afraid, guys, through lockdown and all the rest of it, and the fact that they've already been sitting on my desk for a week, and they just look too good, so I'm going to have to consume one here today. And here's this part 2, and I'm not even entirely sure if this was sent to me as a supplementary prize or if this was just something that they sent out to people that they had an address of. I don't really know. So right now, let's have a look. You may be thinking, Ian, this is very metrosexual of you, wearing this lovely pink shirt. I mean, and now, guys, don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong with pink. I love pink things. It's great. It's not my favorite color. I'm a fireman, so I love red fire trucks. I go fast. But check this out. Let's see if I can get it on camera right. Helium stock 2. And then somewhere down here, if I can get it on the camera, get it right here, 2 years of the People's Network. So guys, this is all about, now this is actually a tie-dye shirt. It may not show up particularly well in the video. It's tie-dye shirt. It's Helium stock. Now for those that are not old enough to know, there was an old music festival back in the 60s called Woodstock, and anybody that was old enough to know Woodstock, of which actually I'm not. I was alive when it was around, but I definitely wasn't there. I was in my single-digit ages, so I definitely didn't go to Woodstock or any of the spin-offs that were around the country, or around the world rather, but they were all about basically going there and making love, not war, and getting high, baby. So I'm sort of figuring right now that this whole principle is about helium, guys. It's time to get high. And the helium stock number 2 here, guys, is all about getting your units as high as you possibly can. So let's get them up there, however you do it, whether they're on a mast, whether they're up in a window, whether they're in a tree, however you can do it that's safe and that is functional, guys, get them up there. You'll be seeing in the content that I'll be showing you in this video today, I'll be throwing together bits and pieces, little bits of content that I have been shooting over the last week and a half or so. I've really had intentions of putting videos together of my setup, and but guys, I just haven't had the time. So I'm going to take little snippets and throw it together here today. Hopefully you get some enjoyment out of it. Hopefully you get some information out of it, because that's what this channel is all about, guys. It's about trying to share the knowledge that will help you on your helium journey, to provide that IoT solution for our country and for the people's network, and obviously to improve our financial positions through generating proof of coverage, HNT. Right at the time of recording, today it is the 12th. Right now, the whole crypto market is in a little bit of a pullback, but guys, this is only just the start of things. I mean, I've got so much faith in the whole crypto price fear at the moment. I think that we are about to skyrocket. If anybody is actually really seriously looking at cryptos, you will have seen things like Solana, Avalanche, and a couple of others that have just taken off, and they haven't just taken off and gone up like 20, 30, 50%. You know, these things have gone up 200%, 300% in the period of like a month, if not less than that. And other cryptos like Helium are they've got all of the indications that they're about to do the same thing. And folks, I think HNT is in that same bucket. You know, we're a top 50 to top 60 odd cryptocurrency when things are cooking. Guys, it's got so much fundamental strength, in as much as that there is magnificent use case applications. You know, we are using the network right now for IoT. Maybe not here in Australia, although of course Jay over there in South Australia has got clients using the Helium network as we speak. So I suppose we could say that it is already being commercially applied here in Australia, but largely obviously more focused on the US and maybe to a lesser degree in Europe. But as this network grows and builds stability, folks, the Helium network is going to be a huge IoT solution that will stretch around the globe. So it's got so much fundamental strength. I think HNT is going to go through the roof. So your hotspot's not the only thing that's going to be getting high, folks. It's going to be the price of HNT is getting high as well. Alrighty, so let's check out some of the other video content, the montage of what's been happening here at Helium Down Under. Okay, well, folks, here we go. We'll have first of all a bit of a look at the Helium Explorer before we take a trip up onto the roof. So, as I've been mentioning, I've got the new hotspot here in the roof, and guys, here at Helium Central, this will now, moving forward, be known as the Wasp Nest. This is the Faithful Candy Wasp, which is in fact a Cal chip hotspot. Fitted with a 5.8 dBi antenna mounted up, as you will see on the video shortly once I'm up on the roof. It's currently mounted at between 7 and 10 meters, depending on any particular day where I happen to have a mast up on top of my house with an absolutely great outlook. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of a scoot around the Explorer map right now and look at what's been happening with the Wasp since actually putting it online. Now, there are 3 hotspots, which, as you can see through here, have witnessed myself. Now, unfortunately, at the point of recording, or at the time of recording, the witnessing has only been one way, meaning that they can witness me, but unfortunately I'm not witnessing them. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but guys, it's been less than a week now, so I'm definitely prepared. Actually, how long has it been? Well, actually, I suppose it has actually been a week since I put the hotspot online, but I'm definitely prepared to just give this time. I really realistically feel that I need to have the network build around me. It's wonderful to be hitting these distant hotspots here, but realistically, that's not going to be the focus. I need to be building a network out here because this is my focal area, as you'll see in the video in a moment. Now, let's talk about the hotspots that actually have been that I have been hitting. Over here, this particular hotspot, flaky spruce porcupine. This particular unit is located up on top of a sugar mill, on the top of one of the towers at the sugar mill. So it is up quite high, 20 meters off the ground, fitted with a 9 dBi antenna. I have been witnessed by this particular hotspot, flaky spruce porcupine, every time basically I have had a beacon. Well, not every time, probably 80% of the beacons, this particular hotspot has seen me. Now, this little hotspot down here in Yatla, having a look at this, the Jolly Aquarium Penguin, who is actually a Nebra unit fitted with a 6 dBi at 7 meters. For some reason, there's a bit of incompatibility between our two setups. And whilst this particular hotspot here is the closest hotspot to myself, of which the distance between the two of us here, it is approximately 13 kilometers away. I am... every time I beacon, won't say every time, but probably about, say, 50 to 75% of the time, this particular hotspot, Jolly Aquarium Penguin, will actually see my unit or will see my beacon, but it comes up as an invalid witness due to RSSI issues. So there is some incompatibility between the two antennas, I suspect. We're maybe just a little bit close for the fact that it's got 6 dBi on their end and a 5.8 on mine. I could drop mine back a little bit, and if I had a 3 dBi, I would put it on the top and experiment, but unfortunately I don't have a 3 dBi. I have those on order. I currently have a 5.8 and I have an 8 dBi. And I realistically think the 8 dBi is just going to make my situation worse, so I haven't bothered to try. If we turn off the distance measurer. Now, these two hotspots here I have not been able to hit at this point. There is a hill in between my place and causes a bit of a shadow through here. However, the other hotspot that does see me approximately 75% of the time is this hotspot down here, which is in fact now the longest witness distance in Australia. Now, just to stress, as has been raised or questioned by a few members on our Discord and Facebook community, saying, that's fantastic, I saw that you had a witness that was almost 50 kilometers. Do you get a lot of HNT for that? Well, number one, I'm not witnessing them, so I'm earning very little HNT. But the hotspot at the other end does not receive any additional HNT because of distance. You earn HNT based upon the actual number of witnesses, not the distance of the witnesses. So in this particular case, the thankful boysenberry Dalmatian, when you see this, is 117 meters up off sea level, 3 dBi antenna. It is a Nebra unit. So I'm not entirely sure if this is a unit that has an external antenna mounted on the top of an apartment complex perhaps, or if it's maybe somebody that lives on, say, around the 15th floor of an apartment complex and they have the stock Nebra unit sitting in their window. The 3 dBi really doesn't give any great level of certainty either way. And I would love to know, in fact, so if anybody knows who Thankful Boysenberry Dalmatian is, and if you're in our Facebook group or if you're in our Discord community, if you could tell us what you currently got down there. Is this just a stock unit inside your window, in which case it's great information to see that you can not only strike this unit here, which is about 30 kilometers away, but you are in fact striking the Wasp up here 45 kilometers away. Pretty exciting stuff. Now, all of the hotspots that are over the hill here, which was my objective and still is my objective, but guys, as you'll see from the videos that are coming up shortly, once I'm up on the roof, I'm starting to second guess myself now. I'm not entirely sure that that's going to be feasible. Look, it was worth a try. I do believe that the hotspots over here will definitely be within range, but at the moment, it's still questionable at the moment. These hotspots over here are in fact still sinking. There's a couple of bobcats down here as well. This unit down here, the disappointing one, the hotspot that is the closest one onto me and would be a perfect witness, the salty fern beaver. What an unfortunate name that is. And when we have a look here, the salty fern beaver is a bobcat. So guys, just to reinforce that bobcats do not currently work on the Australian AU 915 frequency band. So if you have a bobcat, you are not going to be part of the wider community. In this particular case here, this particular hotspot will likely be a lone wolf for the long duration as the area populates with AU 915. But just as a little bit, this is sort of actually a little bit exciting, is down here on the Gold Coast in a place called Robina. These units popped up on the map only about probably 2 or 3 days ago. And when I saw them pop up, I was really quite excited because I saw that the Gold Coast group was starting to grow and that they were all really nice and close together and it was going to be fantastic, until I opened it up, only to find out that in fact all of these hotspots down here are bobcat units. They're all owned by the same wallet. When we go and have a look at the number of hotspots, all of these people here, all these hotspots are owned by the same person, and they're all bobcats. Now, the good news is for this particular person, whoever it is the fact that you have got sufficient units down there, and they are actually very, very well positioned, that you will probably actually generate quite a healthy H&T income from the units, even though it's operating on the incorrect frequency. So you will generate proof of coverage because you've got enough other equivalent units close by to actually generate that. But guys, just to reiterate and to truly confirm that these units are operating illegally in Australia. The US 915 frequency band actually crosses over into our telcos range. I believe it's Optus, but I'm not entirely positive of that. One of the telcos actually pays for this part of the frequency band that the US 915 is using. Now, it's not part of the normal 4G type network, so it's not like you're going to be interfering with mobile phones, not directly. But the fact is, these frequencies are paid for by Optus or by whomever it is that actually uses them. I'm sure that they pay a significant amount of money to have those frequencies assigned. They probably have some application for it, and having these hotspots running on it will, at some point, cause interference. The good news is here, though. Okay, here's the silver lining in this little storm cloud is the bobcat just in the last few days have released correspondence to a number of people within the community, and one of our community members actually forwarded this on to me, which was great to see. Is the bobcat have now confirmed that they have intentions of updating the software on the bobcats so that they will auto-assign to the Australian AU 915 frequency band, which is hallelujah, brother. That is awesome news. Downside, unfortunately, is that it won't be happening until early 2022. So in between now and then, all of these bobcat units, guys, you are running illegally, and you are also probably going to be operating as a lone wolf unless you have actually built yourself a network. So I'm not going to tell you what to do. My suggestion would be don't risk it. Turn them off so you don't run the risk of receiving fines, some sort of cessation, I can't even pronounce the word, but receiving some sort of notice from the authorities to say stop doing what you're doing. And worst case scenario, you may even have your units confiscated. I don't know what the consequences will be. I don't know how serious they are about it, but guys, it's a big risk to me that I wouldn't be prepared to take if I was in your shoes. But you're big boys and girls, so you make up your own choices. So there you go, up at the wasp's nest. That's where I am now here, folks. You will be seeing very shortly from the rooftop and seeing what the wasp can see from its home up top. Okay, folks, here we are once again at the central point of Faithful Candy Wasp, and just doing a bit of an update on where I currently stand with the establishment of the hotspot. This is still very much a work in progress. I've been incredibly busy for the last 3 days, so between work and my other commitments in theatre, which I've been on stage performing, I'm afraid I haven't had a great deal of time to dedicate to the poor old wasp who's been sitting at home beaconing away and being witnessed by a few hotspots in the general area, but unfortunately the wasp hasn't been witnessing anybody else. So I thought I'd come in here today, sort of a bit of an opportunity whilst I was on the roof. I just did a diagnostic check and also a discovery mode just to see that everything was fine, which it was. I've also powered down, powered back up again, and everything's honky-dory. But anyway, so guys, if you've missed any of my earlier videos, the initial plan was this mast that you see here, which is at the moment partially extended. That is a 15-meter telescopic mast. Now, obviously, there's my finger here, between that point there and that point there is approximately 2 meters. So the 15-meter mast from that section there to the top is obviously going to become a 12-meter mast. Now, as you can see, or hopefully you can see here, I have commenced the guy wiring of this particular facility, but I've got to tell you, trying to do it on your own, guys, all right, if you can take any lesson out of my schmozzle or my debacle that I've been in over the last few days to a week, is don't try and do this on your own. You definitely need a couple of people to assist you in the operation. Okay, so for starters, it's definitely at least a 4-person operation, so I will be roping in some friends of mine very soon, and we will commence this operation because I need somebody down at each of the anchor points, the other anchor points down there, and let's duck up on the roof really quickly so we can see what we're looking at over there. If you haven't seen any of my earlier videos, this is already the tremendous outlook that I have here. And my view basically stretches out uninterrupted for approximately 50 kilometers. And in between where I sit right now and that 50 kilometers in an arc all the way around is essentially the city of Logan. So if you wish to look on the map, you'll see that pretty much if any hotspot is within the city of Logan, there's a high probability that I will be witnessing that hotspot. And at the moment, there is a grand total of 2 hotspots in Logan. Sorry, there are actually 3 hotspots in Logan. One of them is myself. The second one is a bobcat, which is sitting out there about 5 kilometers away, which is such a shame because that person would be the one that I would be witnessing the best. But obviously bobcat, totally different frequency, so they're off sitting over there, a poor old orphan, a lone wolf in the world of US 915. And there is another unit down there in Yatla. But there seems to be a bit of an incompatibility between my antenna setup and their antenna setup and the likes, and currently we are consistently being faced with invalid witnessing. Now, my hotspot has not even attempted or hasn't even basically seen that hotspot yet to even generate an invalid witness, but for the wasp being witnessed, it keeps coming up with an invalid witness. There is another hotspot which is over yonder, over that way, about probably 15 to 20 kilometers. I can't recall the exact distance now. That particular hotspot over there is another Cal chip which has recently been installed. It has the antenna on the top of a sugar mill. And the height of that antenna is probably at about, I would guess, about 25 meters. So they've got incredible height. Also, I am quite frequently being witnessed, but this one's a little bit more hit and miss. Let's skip down the wall a little bit. And just down in that area here, between those trees, that is the Gold Coast. And there is a hotspot on the top of a tower down there that I'm actually hitting. Now, my dilemma here with my tower is I'm thinking that the 15-meter telescopic was just a little bit too large. So I'm going to be downsizing this from a 15-meter to a 12-meter, which will ultimately put my hotspot antenna sitting at about 10 meters above this roof line, which is approximately 4 to 5 meters above ground height. So that means that the antenna will be sitting up there at about 14 odd meters. And ultimately, my rack enclosure, which I have ordered from the IoT store, will be sitting at approximately 2 or 3 meters down from the top. But that's still to be decided yet. I really need to assess it as I get it up there as to how stable I feel about the whole situation. So this is very much a work in progress here, guys. It is not as easy a job as I had hoped it was going to be. One anchor point down there, another anchor point is going to be here. That's 7 meters away. There's another one going at 3 meters away, and there'll actually be a series of 5 guy wires coming off 3 different points. So very big operation. Alrighty guys, well that's just a check-in from the Wasp. Keep an eye on what's happening. I think I now actually have the joy of being the longest witness in Australia. Not that we get paid anything for a long witness, but the hotspot down on the Gold Coast has witnessed me multiple times, and I think it's about 45 to 50 odd kilometres, but you can have a look on the Explorer map. Hey guys, now I just thought I'd provide a little bit of a look at where the hotspot is right at the moment too, because I realised looking up on the roof that we looked up there, but we didn't check out what was happening down here on the base. Now if you haven't seen earlier videos, there is the base of the antenna, 2 metres chewed up between here and there, so this 2 metres is pretty much is obviously removed from the height of the antenna. This box here is the off-grid system. Guys, ignore that for the moment. It's still a work in progress. In there is the battery. You've also got the 4G hotspot and the solar controller, etc., etc. I removed the solar panels off the mast a few days ago when I was working on the antenna, just to get it out of the way. This is still a work in progress, so we'll come back to that one another day. This is where the hotspot is. And guys, please don't go throwing any stones here. This is only a temporary setup so I can get it up on the roof and start experimenting a bit. So, because I originally had it inside, but I have a 10 metre LMR 400 and trying to get the most benefit out of that whilst actually putting the antenna somewhere up on the top of that mast. Okay, so in here at the moment, just having a look at the very temporary setup. We've got the LMR, we've got running that from Ethernet cable, which is coming in through the house, and obviously the power at the moment is being drawn from power. Now I have actually installed through my roof, and the point is located just in behind this wall here, so I will actually be putting a point through there that I can bring my Ethernet cable through. I have established an Ethernet port in the roof. It ended up being about a 30 to 40 odd metre run of Ethernet cable under the house, up through walls and through roof to actually end up at the right spot. But ultimately that hotspot will go up at the top of that mast in a rack enclosure, and at that point it will be running via power over Ethernet, but at the moment obviously it's running from 240 volts, just so the fact that I could get that all set up. Yes, so there you go, that's the hotspot. Now once the height of the antenna, I just realised a moment ago, I was talking about it being 12 metres. Now this is all an experiment here. I currently have 11 hotspots on order, of which this is one of them, so in fact I have another 10 still coming. Those 10 hotspots are going to be positioned out here in the suburb of Logan. So at the moment there are only 2 hotspots. There is one bobcat which is located just down here. Unfortunately there is useless to me as tits on a ball, and we've got another hotspot which is over here in Yatla, about probably 5 to 7 kilometres away, but unfortunately there seems to be incompatibility between the antenna setups, and whilst I'm not witnessing them at all, they are witnessing me, but it keeps coming back as invalid witness. So look, that will sort itself out in time with the HIP 11, I think it is, that's coming out, will obviously address a lot of those issues. But the intention is to building in Logan in front of me, and at that point, because of my elevation here, I don't even need to have 15 metres, let alone, or 12 metres, let alone 15 metres to be able to hit, because I've got pretty much uninterrupted view here out to 50 kilometres, the whole suburb of Logan, or the city of Logan, parts of the Gold Coast down there, and even parts of the southeastern corner of Brisbane. All of the Brisbane units are over there, but I'm afraid I think I'm probably just going to have to accept that they're probably out of my range, but who knows. I will test that finally once I get this baby fully up in the air. I don't know, I can't even see it, the sun's too bright here. And at that point I may be able to actually hit those units. But I aim to actually be establishing my own little network down here, and I know for certain that there are other, based on the crowdsourced map, that there are other hotspots which will be located in throughout here in Logan. Currently in Brisbane there's about 20 odd hotspots. Over here, as I say, there's only the 3 of us, one being a bobcat. I have complete confidence that within by Christmas that Logan will probably be lit up with 30 or 40 odd hotspots, of which, you know, a quarter of them will potentially be mine. And we will be having a one heck of a party with this location here, at which point this hotspot here, whilst at the moment this is a temporary setup, this may become the permanent home of the hotspot, and I may actually just continue to run a 10 metre LMR, or may even go with a 5 metre LMR and just put this antenna here on top of maybe a 5 metre mast or thereabouts, so it gets me up above the remaining trees and solar panels and the likes. Not that I think that they're that they would be much of an issue. Even if I was mounting it here at roof height, it would be going over the top of them. But just to give complete clearance, maybe 2 to 5, maybe 6 meters above the roof line would be ideal. Yes, so guys, that is the current setup with the Wasp right now. Still definitely a work in progress. I know a few people have messaged me saying congratulations on getting the witness from the Gold Coast, which is near on 50 kilometres away. Very exciting to see. Unfortunately, it's only a one-way witness at the moment. The Wasp, whilst she obviously talks very loudly and everybody can hear her, unfortunately she has really shit ears. So at the moment, I haven't witnessed anybody else, but I'm hoping that once the network stabilizes, because over the last 48 hours, even though I've been busy at work, I know the network has been going through some major challenges. I think bobcats are causing grief and goodness knows what else. It's a pretty rapidly evolving network with Helium, and we will face these teething problems as the network continues to grow. Alrighty, so that's it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching these. Hope you get something out of it, at least to sort of see what ideas I've got here. Whatever I do doesn't mean this is what you need to do, and some of the ideas that I have may be just a little bit too over the top, but hey, I like to aim high, so we'll give it a shot. So baby, it definitely is time to get high here on Helium Down Under. I shall catch you later, guys. Cheers.